You know, the expensive dates, the grand gestures, the passionate chemistry. These are the beautiful things, right? The visible structures we build.
Totally. But like any stunning building, it all relies on a hidden foundation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The part nobody sees until it cracks.
And that is really the core truth PG Sebastian keeps coming back to in his reflections on, enduring connection. Love absolutely cannot flourish. It just can't sustain itself where respect doesn't live.
It's the anchor.
It's the unglamorous, totally indispensable anchor.
Yeah. It's easy to mistake that initial, passion or even just sheer convenience for a stable foundation.
Hmm.
So our mission today really is to look at PG Sebastian's work and identify exactly how respect erodes, not always in those big, spectacular arguments, but often in the quiet, everyday negligence, the stuff that slowly makes a relationship brittle.
And this is so crucial for you listening in because respect isn't just, well, it's not just a nicety. PG Sebastian frames it as the currency of longevity. It's the steady ground under that whirlwind of romance. So if you want a connection that actually matures and doesn't just, survive, you have to be intentional about bringing reverence, that respect, to the table.
Okay, let's get into PG Sebastian's definition of respect then, because he's asking for more than just, basic affection.
Yeah, he is. He argues that a healthy relationship needs real effort, attention, and a deep, intentional investment of presence.
Presence, okay. What does he mean by that exactly? Is it just showing up?
Well, what's fascinating, and Sebastian really distinguishes this, is the difference between just being physically there
Right.
and being intentionally there. It's not just showing up when it's easy or convenient. It's that kind of presence that actively chooses the other partner. It stays, it listens, it honors them day after day, even when, the spark feels more like a pilot light.
So if a partner isn't willing to consistently pour energy into that, into listening, prioritizing, really seeing the other person.
Then Sebastian suggests that lack of effort is actually a lack of respect.
Well,
Yeah. They're not holding the relationship with the reverence it deserves, as he puts it.
and that erosion, PG Sebastian notes, it's often silent.
So silent. It doesn't arrive with a bang, a dramatic scene.
Oh, yeah.
It comes in those small dismissals, the subtle shifts in where the energy goes, the words that just float away unacknowledged.
Yeah.
We really need to learn to spot those quiet cuts.
Okay, let's do that. If respect is defined by that intentional presence, let's look at the quiet ways that presence starts to fail. Starting with the specific signs PG Sebastian observed when a man might be losing respect for his partner. And again, we're here to raise awareness, not, point fingers.
Absolutely. And it often starts with something really fundamental. Communication breakdown. Specifically, the inability to truly listen. When you share something, a thought, a worry, even just a small detail about your day, and it just hangs there in the air, unacknowledged, unanswered,
Yeah.
that's the beginning. That's where you start to feel invisible.
And that feeling of invisibility, it's a subtle kind of cruelty, isn't it?
It really is.
You slowly realize your voice just doesn't seem to matter in the room anymore. That quiet disregard sets in. PG Sebastian reminds us that partners need to be mirrors for each other.
Right.
If one partner stops reflecting the other, the bond just starts to slip.
And you look at how needs get prioritized. Healthy love, it's this constant rhythm, right? Give and take.
Yeah, a dance.
A dance, exactly. But when that rhythm becomes totally one-sided, when his needs constantly, repeatedly eclipse yours without discussion, without negotiation,
You stop feeling like a partner.
you start feeling like a co-pilot. Yeah, you start feeling like an accessory.
Oof.
You're present in his life, sure, but you're no longer prioritized within it.
Okay, this next one gets tricky. It's nuanced and I think easily excused sometimes. The jabs cloaked in jokes, that sarcasm that cuts just a little too deep, or the playful teasing that actually lands like a criticism.
Oh, yes. PG Sebastian calls these small windows into how he really sees you.
Small windows. That's powerful.
They're like these little emotional tests, but disguised as humor.
And when you call it out.
Exactly. The defense is always, oh, it's just a joke, or you're being too sensitive.
Right. Always.
But Sebastian insists these jokes, the ones designed to diminish, they're not slips of the tongue. They are quietly, deliberately chipping away at your self-worth. It's a passive-aggressive way to create emotional distance.
And that quiet disregard, it also shows up really clearly in how time is managed or not managed.
The lack of time.
He's always busy, right? always occupied with something else, and the relationship just keeps slipping down the priority list.
Reserved only for those moments when literally nothing else is demanding his energy.
And importantly, Sebastian notes, it's often not because of some major crisis.
No, it's simpler and maybe sadder than that. It's because the partner is, quote, no longer seen as something that requires tending.
That lack of effort again.
It's a huge signal. If it took effort to build the relationship, it takes intentional effort to maintain it. Withdrawing that effort, that is a form of disrespect.
Okay, and then finally, in the more severe cases PG Sebastian talks about, control starts to creep in.
Yeah, this one's worrying.
And it's almost always disguised, isn't it? As concern, maybe. Or protection.
Always. But the fuel underneath, Sebastian says, is domination. When your autonomy gets dismissed, when your independence is stifled, or every single choice you make is questioned.
That's not love talking.
No, that is control wearing an intimacy mask.
Oh, wow. Okay, maybe this is a good spot to just pause for a second. For everyone listening.
Good idea.
When you look back maybe at past relationships or even, current dynamics, how often did you maybe dismiss one of those subtle jabs because it was wrapped up as a joke?
Or rationalize being put last on the priority list again and again.
Yeah. So easy to do, right?
Human nature. Especially when you value the person. We're kind of trained to avoid conflict. But PG Sebastian teaches that if you are constantly dismissing these subtle emotional cues, these quiet cuts, you're actually participating in the deception in a way.
You're normalizing feeling diminished.
Exactly. They're insidious because they encourage you to normalize it.
Okay. So we need to move from just awareness to, well, maybe thinking about action. And let's shift the focus now because Sebastian is very clear this isn't a one-way street.
Not at all. Respect erosion happens on both sides.
So what does it look like when a woman is losing respect for her partner? When he starts to sort of silently shrink in the relationship?
Well, often the slow death there starts with relentless correction, constant criticism.
What some people might call nagging.
Right, but PG Sebastian defines this behavior more seriously as a slow erosion of dignity.
Erosion of dignity,
If
yeah.
every single move a man makes is scrutinized, every effort is belittled or improved, the partnership starts to feel like this test he can just never pass.
It's that feeling of always failing.
Exactly. And what happens? He stops taking initiative.
Because why bother?
Right. He knows whatever he chooses dinner, a vacation spot, a project idea, it's going to be second-guessed or critiqued until it fits her exact specs.
And we see the flip side of control here too, don't we?
Oh, absolutely. The mirror image. Decisions are constantly second-guessed. Plans become subject to her approval.
What should be companionship turns into surveillance.
That's a great way to put it. Sebastian observes that when trust is gone, suspicion just rushes in to fill the void, and that fundamental lack of trust is disrespect.
Okay. Another really damaging sign PG Sebastian discusses is when connection itself becomes conditional.
Often through withholding affection or warmth or even physical intimacy.
Using it as a tool.
Yes. When intimacy becomes a bargaining chip, something used for punishment or reward, the relationship fundamentally changes.
How so?
It stops being a safe space, becomes transactional. You simply cannot claim to love someone while using your shared connection as leverage to, enforce compliance.
It makes a relationship feel almost mercenary.
That's a good word for it, yeah.
And just like the woman feeling unheard we talked about earlier, the dismissal of a man's voice is another one of those hidden cuts.
Absolutely breaks down respect. His concerns get minimized. His ideas are just waved away. Maybe his emotional responses are invalidated, told he's overreacting.
So he starts to feel like, what did Sebastian say, a fixture?
Yeah, like a fixture in the relationship, not a force within it.
Wow.
His opinions are only valuable when they're convenient, maybe, which just leads to this deep emotional fatigue. He learns to retreat because speaking up often just brings more diminishment.
And that emotional absence we talked about earlier, it echoes here too.
It does. The disregard for time, the lack of effort showing up, that subtle absence of real, genuine emotional presence.
If she no longer sees the relationship as something worth tending.
He feels that lack of reverence.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in harsh words, but in what she simply doesn't bother to show up for anymore.
It seems like what PG Sebastian's work really highlights consistently is that it doesn't matter if the disrespect is loud criticism or that quiet disregard.
The end result is exactly the same. The partner feels diminished, smaller, less valued.
Yeah.
You just cannot truly claim to love someone you're not willing to honor or listen to or genuinely learn from. That's the definition of that intentional presence failing.
Sebastian sums it all up so powerfully, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Love without respect.
Hmm.
It's just not love. Not real love, anyway.
It's not. Respect is love's most enduring gesture. That intentional choice day after day to sustain that reverence.
So his work isn't just diagnosing the problem, it's offering an invitation.
A sacred invitation, really,
Yeah.
to reverse this line. And it's not about, like, ticking off boxes on a checklist.
No.
It's about returning to respect as a fundamental way of being in the relationship. Choosing to truly see each other, to hear each other, to hold each other gently, even when it's hard, even when it requires difficult self-reflection.
And that's the positive outcome, right? When we make space for that intentional reverence, that respect, love doesn't just survive the hard time.
No, it matures, it deepens, it becomes something.
Yeah.
But profoundly sacred.
Yeah.
Just like PG Sebastian promises possible.
That's a beautiful way to think about it.
And maybe one final thought, building on Sebastian's materials.
Yeah.
If you find yourself right now in a place where you feel unseen or unheard, perhaps the greatest act of respect you can perform is respecting your own non-negotiable need to be fully valued. Sometimes, respecting the relationship actually has to start with respecting yourself first.
That is, wow, that's a profound and really necessary thought to carry with you. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the absolute necessity of respect for enduring love.
It's fundamental.
If you want to explore more of PG Sebastian's insights on relationships, on boundaries, on building that foundation that truly lasts, please be sure to check out the Steps to Forever ecosystem. There's just a wealth of material available there.
There really is. Until next time, keep choosing the reverence that love truly